In this video we will be restyling this Thuja occidentalis that I call the Chasm, which is an example of mixed media bonsai. This type of material is very easily accessible. This is an unremarkable piece of material. In fact, this is a ground layer of my larger Thuja occidentalis, which I call the escarpment Thuja. This is the type of thing that you can do with any Thuja that you buy as a hedging material. The inspiration for this tree is a Thuja occidentalis that I saw after the initial design of this tree actually, but that became the guiding image that I saw in a place in northern New York State called Chasm, which is a canyon. The tree that I saw, the Chasm, is hanging on the edge of the canyon and has a remarkable resemblance to this tree. Growth management on a Thuja occidentalis is very simple, and it amounts to cutting growing tips to internal growth with growing tips. We never pinch Thuja occidentalis as an elongating species. We use our scissor to cut to internal growth. We always leave growing tips. We can cut a lot back, for example here or here. As you can see, this tree has grown considerably and lost a little bit of its form. So our goals for today are to wire it, prune it, and consider new possibilities on the design of this tree as my aesthetic considerations have improved from last year, and as new branches grew and give me more possibilities. The two things that we have to keep in mind as we style this tree are the fact that this is a feminine design. So instead of broad pads, we need multiple smaller pads. We need curves, we need gracious lines, and we need to mind also sustainable design. What I mean by sustainable design are two things. One is that in the immediate moment in time now, all the branches need to have their space to photosynthesize. For example, I have some internal branches here that are fairly weak because they are very much covered by the rest. This is in the present, but in the future, sustainable design means that it's sustainable for the maintenance of health of the tree, and that means never stopping the tree from growing. A tree that is not growing is dying, and so what we do with sustainable design is to always have new branches that will take over previously existing branches that outgrew their function in the design, either in the current design, if you want to keep the design what I call a dynamic equilibrium, meaning that the image remains more or less the same, but the actual branches that produce it are new branches all the time, as opposed to static, which means forcing the tree to not grow and be in a state of stasis, which is very dangerous for the health of the tree. Now, as I mentioned, this is mixed media bonsai, and what I mean by that is that this is not just tree, it's tree with other materials. And in this case, if you can see here, I have this dead wood, this gin, and part of it broke off and was lost, and instead of not having anything, I decided to attach the top of this, the extremity of the gin, with a piece of copper tubing, and there is another one here, gin, copper tubing, gin. So this adds interest and makes for mixed media bonsai. This is only the first example of mixed media that I produced, but other ideas that you can keep in your mind and explore are metal or glass or plastic, just like, for example, a traditional root over rock bonsai, or a tree that is planted next to a rock, makes up for a covering of negative space to increase the strength and stability of the tree or visual weight. We can use mixed media to create interest in areas where there is no interest. Generally, the tree was sort of like a drop shaped, straight flat here towards us, but I think it's nicer to accentuate the mixed media parts as well as the flow of the tree, having some more elongation and adding further movement. So as I bend, I rotate the branch also, so the wiring in this case is counterclockwise, and I'm bending the branch counterclockwise as I bend it. I'm twisting it counterclockwise as I bend it. In order to have multiple small pads, being a feminine design, I will bend this down here and here. So here we have one pad, here we will have another pad and a third pad created. One of the concepts that I would like to show you with Thuja is the fact that we can take a single frown like this, which was a single elongation in the tree. We can create movement, and we can upgrade parts of the of what was a single frown into a branch. So we simply remove certain branches to upgrade this section here into a branch now, and we can decrease the size of growth beneath. So to show this again, let's find another one where we did the same. Here, for example, in this area, we can come and remove all this growth near the crotch. Some of it I had to remove already to be able to wire, and now this became branching system instead of being a single frown. The same here, in this area here, we will remove some of the growth to promote areas to branches. And before I finish wiring it, I'm starting already to make decisions on the length of different areas and cutting, always cutting to intersections that leave growing tips. So for example, here I will have this branch here. I didn't wire it yet, but this is too long and this is too long. So in order to give each area its own space for photosynthesis as part of sustainable design, we will shorten it to growing tips, both of them. And this one here as well. I can also use the concept of directional pruning, as in clip and grow, and decide if my growing tip should be this one pointing this way or this one pointing that way. and the same here. So this is the final result. I took some major decisions here. I removed a major branch from this position here, and I took out a major branch from this position here. This was one of these branches, so there were two branches here. One was coming here and the other one was coming here, and they were messing with the flow and they were complicating the image of the structure. In this region here, now the image is much simpler. We have the branch, the trunk, one turn, another turn, another turn, the tree flows. The trunk comes this way and flows that way with the defining branch here, and the apex with the highest point on this side and flowing that way. So we have a tension design with the tree coming this way and then going this way. By removing this, now this is a little more visible from the front, and this tree will always have a flaw in that the apex is built with a branch that is not the highest branch. The highest branch comes here and goes down, and the other one, well, it's kind of parallel, but this is technically a little bit higher than this one here, just by a centimeter. I could push this up in the future, but it's a thick branch. I may slightly change the angle of the trunk once I repot this. This tree has been in this pot for perhaps 3 years now. Maybe next spring it's due for a repot. So we have here the mixed media much more visible now without the immense foliage covering it. So it is a much simpler and sustainable design with no branches covered by other branches. I like very much this negative space here that makes in and out with the flow going that way. So this is it for now for the restyling of the Chasm Thuja occidentalis mixed media bonsai. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, bye bye for now.